Right, welcome back to the channel. This video is going to be on brake calipers. The rear brake calipers at the moment, because I found in the past I've struggled to find the correct ones, and I've struggled even more to find the genuine Bosch calipers that the ST220 came with. I don't know if you can see there the Bosch symbol. So you can get these refurbished. I got these off of a breaker, a car that was being broken, and I paid something like 10 quid for them, I don't know, including the carriers as well. I got the carriers in there, having the old rust treatment. That. So I'm going to be doing something similar with the calipers themselves. To begin with, I'm just going to be cleaning them up, and then I'm going to be changing all the seals. So the important thing with calipers, as far as I'm aware so far, is that it is just the rubber parts that are damaged. As you can see there, I've taken the seals out. So you've got the dust cover there, which was completely ripped and broken, and then you've got the oil seal there. Now the oil seal goes around the piston. I've got a piston there. Again, a bit of rust treatment. But the important thing on the piston is this surface is nice and clean and free from corrosion, because obviously once you've got corrosion on this surface, it won't make a perfect seal, and it'll leak brake fluid. So I think what I'm going to do, so I've stripped this one down just to see how I would go, because I was a little bit unsure whether to do all this or not, or just buy the calipers brand new, but they are quite expensive brand new, and like I say, you struggle to get the genuine Bosch ones nowadays. So basically I just want to see how they came apart. So all I did was I put a foot pump on the end of there, and I basically pumped up the caliper to about 50 odd psi, and the piston came out and popped out, and then I removed all the seals, the dust cover, the rubber dust cover, and pulled the piston out. And it was then, because when you get the piston out, that give you a good indication of whether it's worth saving or not. You can actually buy replacement pistons as well in these repair kits, but that's more money again, and then you start looking at, you know, is it really worth the hassle, the aggro? You could just buy new calipers for not much more. So basically I'm going to start from scratch with this one. This one's all still sealed up. What I'm going to do is put a pressure washer on this, get all the rubbish off of it, all the crap, and then I'm going to do the same as what I did to that one. Get some pressure into that hose. I'll show you how I did that, and pop the piston out, and hopefully that come out. It should be in decent condition, hopefully, and worth saving. Alright, so I'll get on with the pressure washer in. Right, so this is what I got. Again, I don't advise this, it's a bit dodgy really, got to be really careful. But I've basically got that hooked up to a normal foot pump. I'm going to pressurise that, and hopefully that piston will pop out. out. Yeah, so this is the piston. It just came out. And unfortunately, just cleaned it up. That's corrosion there. So the surface is now damaged, uneven, and that's just going to cause issues in the future. Either the new piston seal, the new caliper seal that sits around the piston there won't seal and it'll leak, or it'll stick, making the caliper not work properly. The piston will stick in one position basically when it hits these little imperfections in the surface of the piston. And not only that, it has had a chunk out of it there, look. So this one is definitely going to need a new piston, unfortunately. And I think they only sold in pairs, so I think for a piston repair kit, which also comes with the rubbers, I think is about 30 odd quid. So I don't know, I'm gonna have a think about this. But yeah, that was a definite warning sign there. And this piston is just fit for the bin, really. So that's the carriers finished. They've been in the bath, the deoxy bath, rust treatment. Cleaned them up, put them in the bath for about 3 or 4 days. Took them out, rinsed them, scrubbed them, coat of Hydrate 80, and then a couple of coats of silver paint. So now the calipers are in the bath. Again, they have been for about 3 or 4 days now. So this is the Atom Mac 5%. Just rinse off the worst of it for now, just so I can assess it and see what I got. I've been taking these in and out the bath and giving them a scrub. Right, so this is a caliper just out of the bath. It's been in the deoxy bath rust treatment for about 3 or 4 days. I just want to quickly point out some quite important points on refurbing calipers. So this area just there, I don't know if you can see it, is like a recess groove in the cast. That all needs to be super clean. You need to be paying particular attention to that, because that's where your square profile seal sits. There's the old one. I'm waiting for new ones to come. So that's the clever part of the caliper. So that sits in there, forms a very good seal around the piston, perfect seal, and it allows the piston to move forward slightly to give you pressure and allow you to brake. So if that seal and that recess there, which the seal sits in, isn't clean and nice and smooth, you're obviously going to get leaks, and you increase your chances of the caliper not working properly, i.e. the piston stopping in one position, seizing in one position, they call them frozen calipers. They say that's the term they use when the caliper is frozen. That's usually when there's corrosion on the side of the piston though, which I showed you earlier. So I've got new pistons and seals coming, all new rubber seals. So like I say, before you start fitting any seals, make sure all these areas are nice and clean, super clean all around here and inside, particularly inside. That's your main seal, but that one's quite important as well because that's going to stop any dirt and crap getting into your caliper behind the piston. So there's the old rubber dust seal. It's all split and knackered, but like I said, I've got new ones coming. So yeah, pay particular attention. I know I just said it, but honestly, I would even go further and say clean all this up as well. Doesn't matter about the rest of the caliper, you know, that can be rough if you want, but this as well, I would say all this area inside all needs to be squeaky clean, because when you come to fit these sills, the chances are you're going to get dirt and crap from air, and it's going to get onto your sills inside the caliper. So I'm going to give this a bit more of a clean, a bit of a scrub, let it dry. I'm going to give it a coat of Hydrate 80 and then paint them silver, and then hopefully fit the sills. Okay, I thought I'd go through the rebuild of the piston to show you. There is a particular way that all these bits go into the piston. and I'll show you putting the seal on as well. There's a particular way the seal goes on, so I think it's all quite important. So yeah, just sort of go through it. So basically there's a new piston. What I've done is got myself a little bit of brake fluid, and I'm putting all the components, as I'm putting them together, I'm just dipping them in the brake fluid. So these calipers have got a handbrake mechanism, and this is the part, so you wind the piston in and out, or you can do, to adjust it, and that's the bit that it winds in and out basically. So there's a little tiny seal on the end of there. I've already replaced this one, so that's a new one on there. Easy enough, straightforward enough. You take the old one off, it does go in a particular way, so it goes that way, if you see what I'm saying. So there's a slight chamfer on it, so the chamfer goes that way. Don't know if you can see. So that goes into the piston like that. Again, plenty of brake fluid as you're assembling. So that goes in like that. Then the next piece is this ring. There's like a bearing ring, if you like. It's got little ball bearings on it, if you can see. So that goes that way in. So again, bit of brake fluid, drop it in, and then there's a washer that goes on top of that, on top, and then you've got a circlip, and your circlip goes in obviously that way, look. So the little bits poking up don't dig down into the washer, you know what I'm saying. So again, a bit of brake fluid on there, and pop that back in. So that is how the old piston was assembled. And then you need your circlip pliers to close that circlip up and get it in. I'll try and show you. It's not going to be easy though. Yeah, okay, so that's all in now. Right, okay, so that's the internals of the piston back together as I found them. So next, the dust cover. So the dust cover, I think, because I didn't see the old one come off, but I think that smooth edge should fit with that edge. So this edge here, you've got a little hole there. So this is actually lubricated by brake fluid. So when you put brake fluid inside the piston there, it actually comes out through that little hole. But I would guess that needs to go on that edge because it's smooth, and therefore creating a seal, forming a seal. So that needs to be pushed on in that direction. Again, brake fluid, I got plenty of brake fluid on the piston, so hopefully it'll slide down easy. Push it right the way down and you'll hear it click in position, and then push it back, and then you're left with that look. So if you can see what I'm saying, that patterned edge, if you like, the moulded, is on the outside. So obviously if you had that the other way around, that wouldn't form a perfect seal. So I'm pretty sure that's got to go that way. So that's the piston built up as it was. So next is fitting the seal inside the caliper. Now I know I've said this before earlier in the video, but all this around here needs to be nice and clean, nice and smooth. I've checked this umpteen times now, and I'm quite happy it is. And when I say clean and smooth, I'm talking about free from corrosion as well. So earlier I said in the video, you know, whether a caliper is worth saving or not. So basically what I mean by that is, if any of these surfaces are pitted from corrosion, then you might want to think about binning it off and buying new, because you're not going to get a seal. It's not usually the inner recess in the cast that's badly corroded. It's usually this outer surface here that I'm pointing at, and that's where your dust cover sits. But if you have got corrosion there, if that's pitted, your seal, your new seal, is never going to seal properly, and that's going to just let in all sorts of moisture and dirt and all the rest of it, and it's going to just... And then press it in. And it just clicks in, it just flicks in, if you like. And that's it. Easy. Well, easy when everything's nice and clean. Just makes life easier. Right, so now I can get the piston in. So like I said, these are wind back pistons, and they're handed, so that is gonna, I found the easiest way to get these in is to turn them in with the turn back tool. So these are actually handed, these calipers, so depending on which side it is, they turn in and out in a different direction to the other side, if you see what I'm saying. And that's it, it's in. So we're almost there. We just need to make sure that this dust cover is sat in, is home all the way round. So just very gently with a screwdriver, just push it in. That's it. Job done. So now all what's left to do is build up the rest of the caliper. The handbrake mechanism. So I've taken photographs of how all this came apart, so I advise you to do the same if you're gonna, because obviously, like I said, they're different, one side to the other. They're like a mirror image, if you like, but I would still take photographs before you start taking the caliper apart of everything, just so you don't go wrong. Ask me how I know. Right, I'll just pinch these up for now. So before I fit the rest of the handbrake mechanism, there's another little sill that goes on the back of that spindle. Right, so this bit goes on, and it is a little bit particular. So like I keep saying, they're handed. So basically this needs to go on. So this part of the bracket here is sat against that grub screw, or whatever you want to call it. So when the handbrake mechanism's operated, that will turn, putting the handbrake on, and then it'll come back and rest on that screw. So once you've got that on, that is a 13mm, I think, yeah. Just pinch it up for now. And as you operate the handbrake mechanism, it should push the piston out slightly. I don't know if you can see that, look. So the piston's coming out. I'll wind that back in a minute. Right, okay, so next is the spring. So the spring goes on that away. I don't know if you really saw that, but that was easier said than done. Okay, so that's all the handbrake mechanism back in. I've got a new bleed nipple. And the old one ain't going to come out. Okay, so that's the calipers all finished, and the carriers. New pistons, new seals, have you seen? And yeah, I'm quite happy with the way they've turned out. I'm quite pleased. I just wanted to recap on a few things though. So knowing if the caliper is worth saving, you're not going to know until you start taking it apart, start taking the calipers apart, in particular those surfaces I'm talking about inside the caliper, inside the milled area of the caliper where all the seals sit. So basically, I know I've already said it, but I just want to reiterate it. They need to be absolutely free from any damage, any pitting from corrosion, anything like that that's going to stop them making a seal. They're going to be scrapped, basically. They just need to be scrapped. And unfortunately, you'll have to look at getting new ones. Equally, any damage to those surfaces, any mechanical damage, you know, so I just said it, I know, but they really do need to be nice and smooth and clean, those surfaces, so the rubber seals seat in there properly and seal properly, and also stop any further corrosion, ingress of water, and etc. So, you know, I know I keep on, but that is quite important about these things. If you're going to do it, you know, yourself, and you're going to buy an old pair of calipers and refurb them yourself, I would strongly suggest that. So in addition to damage to those areas that I'm talking about where the seals sit, I would also pay attention to any of the bolts. If any of the bolts are seized, or they're that badly corroded that they're seized, bleed nipples, etc., anything like that, again, I think you're better off just scrapping them and buying new, to be honest. They do need to be in decent condition, but like I said, you're not going to know that until you start stripping them apart. So if they are in decent condition, you're probably going to be looking, if you did it similar sort of way to me, you're probably going to be looking at about 50 quid to do them. The repair kit, which includes the new pistons, which I would advise. I wouldn't try and reuse old pistons, although I was thinking about it with this one, and now I've done it, I wouldn't. I would just say go for the complete kit, so 2 new pistons and 2 new rubber seal kits. All the rubbers come with the kit. They're quite good, and they come with the lubricant as well. So yeah, the kits were 32. The paint was about 7 quid. The caliper paint, high temperature caliper paint, rust treatment, other bits and pieces, bolts, bleed valves, etc., springs. I estimated it another £10, so it cost me approximately 50 quid to do both calipers. So I've just looked on a very well-known car parts department, Euro something or another. So there's 2 different types they're selling for the ST220. The only difference I can see is the more expensive one is for the later model, and I'm presuming that is well, it is. I'm not presuming that is the one for mine. So they retail at 110 quid each, so that's 220 for the pair. So as you can see, I've spent 50 quid. If I was to go to that parts department, they'd be charging me 220 quid. 220. That's ironic, isn't it? Anyway, yeah, so that's it. I'm quite happy really with the way they've turned out. But I also just wanted to say as well that brakes are an extremely important part of the vehicle. I'm not a professional mechanic. I don't claim any of my procedures are the absolute correct way to do things. This is just how I did it. I advise, if you're going to do it, I advise you to do your own research and you know, find out for yourself the best way to do things. But yeah, if you've made it this far, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all the rest of it, and yeah, well done if you've made it this far. See you in the next one. Cheers.